Hey guys, it is cold today. Raymond Jones, raymondjonesfishing.com. We're going to do a quick boat walk around video for my 2018 521L. Trying to get started and get loaded up for Santee Costa, and wanted to do a quick video. So this is the same color scheme that I use every year. Black nickel rims. So guys, we're going to start out up front here. A lot of the updates on this boat are up front. So we have the eliminator nut from TH Marine. We have the Bojack's vibration dampers, 2 of them on the lower unit of the trolling motor. We also have the Hydro-Wave that is mounted on the shaft, not on the lower unit head, because it could get more damage that way. So up on the shaft, and you can actually point the Hydro-Wave in the direction that you want to go when it's mounted up on the shaft, which is a good feature. Transducer, saver, and shield is the adapter or the mounting that I use for the Hydro-Wave on the shaft. Here's another Bojack's vibration damper. So look at what you got here. On the trolling motor only, you've got a damper on the shaft. You've got 2 dampers on the lower unit. You've got the eliminator nut on the prop, and then you've got the Hydro-Wave here. A lot of guys are skeptical about some of these, what they call gimmicks or whatever. I like the bling, I like the accessories. Bottom line is the accessories, the 3 accessories from Bojack's, they're roughly about $30 to $40. Well, you've got an $80,000 boat, and if you can spend $30 or $40 to help be quieter, if you're a shallow water fisherman like I am, and you can mask it with the Hydro-Wave and the eliminator nut, I really don't understand why you wouldn't do it, but that's just my opinion. One last thing on the Bojack's. I don't know if a hunter has ever seen somebody use a bow without a silencer. This is a silencer for your trolling motor. It's kind of hard to argue with that logic, but I'll give you the information and I'll let you decide what you like. Moving on. The Minn Kota Ultrex comes with this standard factory tubing. There is some different tubing that you can see that I buy from Randy at Precision Sonar. It helps hide the Lowrance cable and makes it look uniform. And then when you have a troll jacket that you actually put over all of the trolling motor cable, it actually makes it look really good because it goes right in there and it's an invisible edge as far as where it stops, and it looks really good. So I like that that troll jacket really covers up a lot. You've got the G-force handle. Lots of guys are using the G-force handle. You've got the cool foot on the trolling motor foot pedal. A lot of guys like to fish barefooted. I'm one of them, so that's the reason why that's there. The Ultrex is awesome, but it does come off with 1 screw only. So if you see here, you've got the DuraSafe E-lock in 1 screw. So a thief is going to be a thief, and when you're traveling out of state, you need to be as secure as you can be. This is just another feature to be secure and make sure your trolling motor doesn't get stolen. So that's the DuraSafe E-lock, and I actually get all my DuraSafe E-locks, whether it's my depth finders or it's the screw lock here or the lock here on the depth finders on the console. I actually get Randy to key them all, so I don't have 100 keys everywhere. So if you talk with Randy from Precision Sonar, he'll key them for you. Moving on, we've naturally got the Minn Kota puck here for the Ultrex. Got the buttons, which most guys have the buttons on the floor for the power pole. This is a over-under dual mount from Precision Sonar. I actually had several requirements. My kids wanted a radio on the boat. I did not want a radio on the boat. So I gave in and actually researched this mount, talked with Randy a little bit, and notice over here there is a Braven speaker right here. And it's mounted on the lower left and it's out of the way. And then I stacked smart brackets from Randy. These are aircraft aluminum. Notice I put the security on them with the DuraSafe E-locks on the HDS-12 as well as on the Hydrowave. I've already been in Okeechobee at Acosta, Seminole at Acosta, Rough Water in the Albemarle Sound, Kerr Lake. I've had a chance to run this boat for about, 4 months maybe, and this thing has never moved. So you can grab it. The whole boat moves before any of the equipment moves. Precision Sonar is who I use. I've been with them about 3 years, never had a problem, and nobody to my knowledge has actually been stacking their smart mount brackets. So this is a unique thing, and normally the Hydrowave is on the floor in most people's boats. So this gives me an opportunity to get the kids the speaker they wanted, me the Hydrowave up off of the floor in a unique way to stack these brackets, and then have the HDS-12 up top. I did get a Plastidip color called Blurple that is a better color match here to my Canadian blue in my boat. So there's a Blaze blue that is very popular and you can get in stores. If you go online, you can find the color Blurple in a Plastidip and you can order it online. Most people don't stock it. One last thing before I leave the over-under mount here, I don't like to be able to see a lot of wires. So if you'll notice, all the wires for this mount are covered up by rod gloves that I've modified and zip tied together. So, whether it's the troll jacket, whether it's the rod gloves on the trolling motor wires or the trolling motor connection itself, it's nice and clean. Everything's nice and tidy. I don't have to look at a bunch of stuff that's going to snag on something, and it's not an eyesore. So one last thing before I leave the trolling motor area. This was my requirement. This is kind of old school. I have a desire that when I charge my batteries, I don't ever want any current coming up into my trolling motor. I get guys are going to say, man, that's stupid. You really don't need to do that. Honestly, it's a preference thing with me. I've seen current get into trolling motors before and it caused problems. I'm really not going to debate it with anybody because a lot of people would be like, man, there's no way I would put that plug on my boat. But it's what I like. I can actually unhook this thing and it's easier to dismount everything from the boat quickly if I had a failure when I was at a tournament than to worry about the wiring. So it's just a nicety or a preference that I like. So we've got and I'll turn these lights on in a minute, but we've got rigid lights here on the front deck, 1 and 2. We have the Ranger Boats etched CNC aluminum hole plug covers. We've got the Collins logo on the floor here. Moving on, we've got the Blurple finish to the windshield on the inside. There's the inside view, or there's the side view, but it looks really good. You got the high gloss finish on the windshield, and then you've got the matching color on the inside, and it obviously matches the trim on your console mount here. So again, DuraSafe E-locks and the smart brackets. Randy does a really good job with these mounts, and button cap screws are really nice because they just cover things. So if you notice with my wire covers or the button cap screws from Randy or even DuraSafe E-locks, it's got a nice finish to it where you don't see a lot. I just like things to have a flow or a smoothness to them. So I've got a cool foot down here on the hot foot. Seats this year from Ranger are awesome because they're redesigned and they're bigger, they're more comfortable, but this is the color of boat that I get every year. So it wasn't a perfect match in previous years, the blue and the seats. Now it's an exact match. So if you look at the color that's on these seats, it matches exactly the Canadian blue color on the boat. So that's a really, really nice feature. Traction pad flooring. It even is a little soft when you push it down with your finger, and it's got ribs all throughout it. Chain weave from previous years would actually slide a little, especially when it got wet. This is a better material in my opinion, and it's just nicer. I've been in it when it's wet, and I have not slipped yet, so that's all I can speak to. The reclinable seats are on the passenger seat for this year on the Ranger L boat, so you can actually make that seat go up and back. I do have blue lights from Rigid underneath both of these seats that we'll see at a different angle, and then we also have Rigid lights here on the back. So there's 6 lights, 2 back deck, 2 front deck, 2 under the seats, and then there's actually 2 that are in each side of the motor. I'll show you this side right here, and it actually looks really good when you turn them on, so I'll turn those on in a minute. I'm going to continue walking around the boat. Delta volt. So this voltmeter is nice from a perspective that you can just see clearly on the display what your battery status is. Okay, the neat thing that 90% of Ranger owners or any other boat owners do not know is this Delta volt is Wi-Fi enabled. So you can download an app on your phone. You can be, in your recliner, your boat's in your garage, and you can check on your batteries to see what the status is. Do they need charging? Are they charging? Did you remember to cut your charger off? It's just a nice feature, but 90% of most Ranger owners don't even realize that this device is Wi-Fi enabled. So just do a Google search, go to the App Store, look for Delta Volt app, and you'll see it. The prop that I'm running is the 25 T2. For the 520L, that's basically the best prop. Got the hydraulic Atlas, got the 2 power pole blades. Let's see. I want to point out another thing. The depth, and I don't know if you can see this, but the depth of the back deck on this L boat. On the C boat, it's a little shallow, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but for the way I kind of operate, when I come off plane, I'm ready to get my business done and come off plane pretty quick. Backwash would happen to me on some of the sea boats that I've had before. I have been in rough water, calm water, it doesn't matter. I can come off plane and no water comes in the back of this boat. And when I say no water, I mean none. It's been really cool. The backsplash well just catches it and it doesn't get up into the boat. It's a really, really nice feature, especially when you're running and gunning. The rims on the trailer, I mean, they're Ranger rims, but they're upgraded for this year. But I did get the black nickel ones instead of just the regular ones, because it helps go with the flow of the boat a little more since it's black and a base color of black. Moving on right here, I want to point this out. This is cut vinyl. So these are custom numbers that I get from Tier 1 Graphics in Mooresville, North Carolina. But this material is actually made out of the reflective material that's on the top of marine buoys. So in the morning, the light catches it when light shines on it, which is a neat feature in the morning because this is a black boat. And, sometimes you might dump the boat in the water and you might forget to put your navigation lights on, for example. Not most people do, but every now and then you could. If somebody were to be coming towards it, their navigation lights would have any amount of light and it would catch it and it would light it up just like a reflective material. So it's kind of neat. I like it. I use them every year. So we're going to hop in the boat real quick. So the T-box compartment door. So my wife actually puts books, flip-flops, whatever in here. I'll tell you a quick story. I drove back from Okeechobee, Florida, in January, and I had left a pack of nabs inside of this. There was only 2 nabs left in the pack, and I left it in here. I drove home 12 hours. Those nabs were still in that hole when I got home. So for someone that thinks that since this is an uncovered area that it's not valid for storage or a trash can, I can promise you from experience that it is. So you could do books and flip-flops, a towel, rope. You could use it for garbage and it won't fly out. Whatever you need to do. One of the things that I want to show you that was a custom thing, you're going to notice that there are no tubes here inside of my rod locker. When Ranger builds a boat, they're built upside down, and the mold and everything has the tubes in there. I don't prefer the tubes. I don't like them. So I made a custom order and asked them to take the tubes out. So all I do is I put rod gloves on every one of my rods, all my Ardent rods and reels, and you just put them in there. So when you're getting them out, I don't have to worry about jamming them in a tube. I don't have to worry about what's in the way. It's all open down there, which is so super nice. I think Jason Christie has the same modification on his boat, but at the same time, you put your rod glove on so your rod's never damaged. You shove it in there, you put it in the hole, and you're done. I mean, it's that easy. You don't have to worry about lining it up with a tube or anything else. It's really time saving for me and how I prefer it to be. Moving on to a nice little modification I did was these bait sticks. So when you get the Cool Foot accessory for your trolling motor and for your hot foot, they also sell these bait sticks, and they're these little circular things here, and you can just hang baits on them. So you can notice I got a ton of baits hanging up there. It's just nice. I mean, if you got a ton of rods out and you don't want to go digging through all your Plano boxes here, all 27 of them that I carry, you can actually put the bait that you might be fishing with a lot that day. It's the exact same bait. Let's say you're fishing with a rattle trap. Maybe you got your backup rattle trap hanging right here. Well, you open this up, you grab it off the little plastic thingy, and you're done. You don't have to open the trap box, and you don't have to get everything out and do all that, and then put the box back. It's just a time saver. I like it. So that's pretty neat. Sitting in the console, I always have a gauge or a digital atlas gauge. I don't want to turn around, and I don't want to try to look at that yellow ruler on the plate while I'm running. I want my full attention and focus in front of me, and I want all my heads-up display in my eyes. So, you know, you got your graph, you got all your controls down here at your fingertips, which is nice. You got the charger and the USB multiple down here, so I don't know if you can see that. So you got all your live well controls right down here. I actually prefer them down here now that I've gotten used to it, because I don't have to go messing around up here or up here. It's just everything's right there. You got your tilt and trim, and then your jack plate up and down right on the steering wheel, like the turn signals. So that's pretty cool. And that's basically the boat. A lot of my upgrades, I help people upgrade their boat, whether it's custom things or whether it's you know, just a minor thing here or there. But my name is Raymond Jones, and raymondjonesfishing.com. You can go look at the website. I offer guide services for youth angler development, whether they're youth or, you know, high school or college. And I also help people bling their boats out. So your boat is a big investment. At the end of the day, you should be happy and thrilled with what functionality you have on your boat. So at the same time, have fun with it. But, you know, if you're looking for somebody that is used to working on multiple brands of boats, as well as in-depth knowledge of a Ranger, I can definitely help you. So contact me if you're interested. A couple of other things real quick before we wrap this up. This is actually it's like a night light at night. This Ranger lights up, and it's a pretty nice touch, because, you know, if you're rigging or whatever at night and then you reach down for the pliers, you know, the lights in here are inside of these compartments. This little night light is a nice touch. There's one other thing that I've noticed this year about the L boat, that it's a nitpicky thing, but I want to make sure I explain it for people that that just may not understand this, or you may not even think about this. The Pro Pad on the 520 is there. In previous years, you would notice that this Pro Pad would be thicker up, or this carpet would be raised up more. I had a gentleman at the Okeechobee Costa come up to me, and he knew I was with Ranger or affiliated with them, and he asked me about it. And I said, look, I can assure you that Pro Pad is there. He swore up and down on his L boat, and it was sitting right next to mine, that it was not there. The way I convinced that gentleman that yes, your Pro Pad is there, and it's just made into the floor thinner this year and previous years, was this. So I said, look at my power pole buttons. So I hope you're able to see it, but you can see the indentation around the power pole buttons. Well, the reason that's there is because the Pro Pad is made deeper into the floor this year on the L boat, but you can clearly see that it's squishier and it will go down. So, you know, one reason why I believe Ranger chose to do that is on some older Ranger models, every now and then, it's not prevalent, but you could see a ripple or a wave in the carpet over time, because that Pro Pad was so thick and it was getting stepped on that it may cause a wrinkle. Well, Ranger did a good thing this year by actually making it more compressed or deeper into the floor deck, because, you know, there is no ripple, or it's not likely to ripple at all. So I thought that was great on their part to actually do that. So I believe I've showed you just about everything. I appreciate you guys' time. Check out Ranger Boats. I would love to help you with a boat purchase or color choices or anything else. So, you know, have fun with your boat, and you know, check me out. Thank you, sir. The lights on the back deck are pretty darn noticeable, and it's great in the mornings. It provides a lot of light. You don't see a lot of guys put the lights on their back decks anymore, but I actually like it on the back as well. So underneath the seats, you can see that there are two rigid lights, one under each seat, which is really nice. And then on the front deck, there is one on each side. I've gone crazy with lights before on boats. I wouldn't recommend putting more than 2 to 4 lights only on the front decks. It's just too bright if you get more than 4 up there. I've seen guys do it, and that's I respect their opinion, but for me, it's too many lights. So I would only recommend 2 to 4 on your front deck. I would recommend 2 underneath your seats, because in the morning you can never have enough light in the cockpit area. You're always looking for something, and it just brightens the whole thing up. I did special and put 2 lights inside of the motor cowling, so you should be able to see that there are lights inside there. And I know we're in a storage facility right now where I store my boat, and not in the water, so you could see it reflect off the water or anything, but you can see the light is in both sides. It really does a great job of lighting up in the mornings in the motor. It's very, very noticeable. So 2 in the motor, 2 on the back deck, 2 underneath the floor, and 2 on the front deck. All right, guys, that's really what I had to show you for today. Thank you for watching.